Today marks exactly 1 year since I uploaded my first video on this channel. So today we're going to be doing a little Q&A where I answer some of your questions about YouTube, LEGO, and everything in between. I'm going to start by doing all of the YouTube questions first, and then we'll get into the more LEGO related ones after that. And by the way, thank you so much to everyone who sent me a question. I really appreciate it. I'm going to probably have some gameplay in the background of this, maybe LEGO Star Wars or Minecraft, but I don't know. I'll record that after this. So let's get right into the questions. First up, we have a question from the amazing Brick Fleet, who if you aren't aware of, you should really go check out his YouTube channel. And his question is, how do you keep yourself motivated to consistently post? Who or what is the driving force for the creation of your channel? So, I have a very obsessive personality, and I've always loved making videos since as long as I can remember. I remember getting a camcorder for like my 10th or 11th birthday, and just filming random skits with my friends, and even making some very cringy LEGO videos. So anyways, I have just always loved the process of making videos, and when my channel randomly started to pick up steam early last year, I decided that I had to see how far I could take this thing. And the reason why I'm so consistent, I think, is because I'm just very anxious to learn as much as I can, and having that Saturday weekly deadline keeps me from being too much of a perfectionist, and never finishing my projects. Which is something that I've always kind of had a problem with just in general, so that weekly upload schedule was probably the best decision I ever made in the whole course of this journey. I feel like I've just learned so much about making videos and marketing them way faster than other people because of that deadline that I set for myself. So yeah, I guess to answer that question in short, I would say just having a weekly schedule is a really big help, at least for me. So next up we have a question from Made with Bricks, who I actually just did a video about a couple of videos ago. And his question is, what are your goals for the next year? So I actually kind of have a weird, I guess, philosophy when it comes to talking about goals. I straight up don't tell anyone what my goals are. The reasoning is that I feel like when you tell somebody that you're gonna start doing something, like working out for example, or making videos, you get this kind of reward feeling from talking about that goal instead of actually doing it. I don't think this is true for everyone, but for me personally, I just prefer silently working at something instead of talking about what I want to start doing. And that is 100% true when it comes to making videos. It just screws with my head if I tell somebody what I'm working on, and if you don't believe me, I actually didn't tell anybody about this YouTube channel until I hit 10k subscribers, which just made all of the reactions to it even funnier to me. So we have a question here from Nimble Saucepan. What's your setup for filming and taking photos, etc.? Well, I actually just recently switched from filming against my white desk and wall to this new setup that I think looks leagues better. In the past couple of videos, I'm sure you've noticed the change, but I set up this IKEA Ivar shelf as the backdrop with a nice emerald green curtain and some neon lights for backlighting the shots. The increased depth that my videos have now just looks so much better to me personally, and I hope to continue to refine this style in future videos. Next up, we have a kind of general advice about YouTube from a couple of different people. So my number one piece of advice for anyone that wants to start a YouTube channel is to think about why you want to make a YouTube channel. I'll use myself as an example. I am always having different ideas for videos and different channels and other niches. And before I even made this channel, I would write down these ideas and scripts into a Google Doc. So for me personally, I just have a lot of ideas that I want to see become fully fledged videos. Most of these are yet to be made, but they will be eventually. What I'm trying to get at here is that if you have ideas for videos that are burning inside of your head, then get them out into a script and then just start making those videos. You've already passed all the people that don't even know what they want to make videos about. But if your reason for wanting to make a YouTube channel is to seek out views or money or sponsors, then I don't think making videos is for you. So to anyone that may be listening and has an idea for a video, stop watching this, write that idea down, and turn it into a script, and then into a video. I wish you all the luck in the world. So from Blue Dragon Bricks, he asks, what made you start your channel? So a little bit of backstory to help me answer this question is, I got back into LEGO Castle in early 2022, and I was purely obsessed. And unfortunately for me, there were not enough medieval LEGO videos to fuel my obsession at the time. There were of course some great channels out there like Bricking Up Brad, BB202, and many others, but I just wanted a pure medieval LEGO channel to watch, and there wasn't anything out there that matched exactly what I wanted to see. So I decided to just start making the videos that I wanted to see. And sure enough, there were other people out there that were fiending for more medieval LEGO on YouTube, and 1 year later, here we are. From Foxycraft, we have, is it hard to make videos like this? That's an interesting question. I wouldn't say they're hard to make, but they do take patience and effort. There's definitely aspects of making videos that have gotten easier over time, but there are still a lot of things that I have to learn, but I enjoy it, so I'm not complaining. Our next question comes from Bricks and Dice, who makes some fantastic videos, so go check out his channel. He says, "I'd love to hear about your mentality and what you think is needed for success on YouTube. What advice or strategy got you to where you are today?" Well, first of all, that is a great question, and my mentality I think could best be described as like patience meets obsession. I think with anything where the odds are just really skewed against you, you have to have a lot of faith in yourself and show up over and over again and just try to learn as you go. If you go back and watch my first couple of videos, they are borderline unwatchable. The pacing is bad, the voiceover is really bad, and the camera work is really shaky. I don't even like a lot of the videos that I made just a couple of months ago. But I think that's a good thing. If I was happy with the videos that I was making a couple of months ago, it would mean that I haven't learned anything or gotten better. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a hard question to answer. I think one of those things that really just helped me out was being okay with uploading videos that I wasn't 100% happy with and learning from those videos to improve on the following week. So yeah, just try to learn something new every single video. That would be my best advice. From Oaktown Bricks, we have this question. I have a YouTube channel, but have been struggling to grow. Do you have any suggestions on how to start and grow a LEGO YouTube channel? So simply put, to grow a channel in any niche, you have to just try your best to learn something new each video. It may be a new editing trick or transition, or it may be learning how to better project your voice or getting better at script writing. There are so many different skills that go into making videos, and the hard truth is that you just have to put in the hours of making bad videos to eventually start making some decent ones. I have made so many videos that I think are straight trash. And the funny thing is, I will absolutely hate the videos that I'm putting out now in a year from now. And that's just growth. From Osshammer40k, we have, what is the story behind your channel name? So I am so glad somebody asked me this. To give you the backstory, my favorite fictional world of all time is A Song of Ice and Fire or Game of Thrones. I became obsessed with it as a teenager and have been ever since. So what does that have to do with my YouTube channel name? Well, there's an A Song of Ice and Fire mod for a video game called Crusader Kings. In that mod, there's a custom house, or family, whatever you want to call it, called Goldfire. And I think it just sounded way too cool not to use, so I used it as my YouTube channel name. Next up, from Vortex, we have, what is the best advice for someone who wants to start making LEGO content? So thankfully, I've got a lot of thoughts on this, and that's why I keep answering these questions that are pretty much the same, because I think I can give a new answer every time that applies. So specifically for LEGO videos, you have to know the landscape that you're entering. There are two different groups of people who watch LEGO videos, and one is much easier and larger to reach than the other. The two groups are of course little kids and everyone else. The little kids are the ones watching channels like TD Bricks and other Mr. Beast type channels. And that's no shade to them. They're doing extremely well in that field and I am very happy for them. But I personally cannot stand to watch that style of video. It's just not made for me, and that's fine. My whole thing is that I want to create videos that I would actually want to watch. I think it comes across as a lot more genuine when you do that, and more importantly, it makes it fun for you to make the videos. I would have quit a long time ago if I was making those fast-paced, brain-rot LEGO videos. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to decide what kind of audience you're looking for. And I'd also say just try to make it fun for yourself, because if it's not fun, you're not going to continue to do it. Okay, up next we have from Toby, how much time and effort has it taken you to get here? Well, it's been exactly 1 year of making LEGO videos, and it's been a lot of learning as I go. The first year for anyone is going to be rough, because you're learning a lot of new skills that might not come naturally to you. Using an example from myself, I really struggled and somewhat still do with doing voiceovers. If you go back and watch my videos from last year, I had horrible inflection, volume, and overall speaking confidence. It has taken a lot of work to get where I am today with my voiceovers, and it went from being the part that I dreaded doing most to one of my favorite parts of making videos. So yeah, you're gonna run into a lot of skills that you just don't know yet, and that's fine, you can learn as you go. From John Franz 1746, we have, will you ever make more Star Wars content? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I wanted to do more of it last year, but I've just not been into any current Star Wars media lately, so I haven't really wanted to make any videos about it. That may change in the future if the Mandalorian show gets any better, but who knows. From UFO Bricks, we have, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start a YouTube channel? So for a different piece of advice, I'll say this. Do not buy any gear at all, not until you've made a bunch of videos at least. You do not need any expensive equipment or software for that matter to make videos. For example, I still use my old Blue Snowball microphone that I've had since like 2016, and I use my phone as my camera. Now, I will be upgrading my gear going forward, but you really don't need to, especially if you're just starting out. I see so many people buy a bunch of different camera gear, lights, and equipment that you really shouldn't have if you're just brand new to making videos. You'll get there eventually, but just stick with what you have to start. Our next question comes from Random123. They ask, if LEGO Castle didn't exist, which theme would you collect and make content about? That's an interesting question. To be honest, I don't think I'd be making LEGO videos. The LEGO Star Wars YouTube scene is really bloated with a million different channels that I probably wouldn't have seen the opportunity to even start. I think I would still eventually start making videos again, but it would be in one of my other interests outside of LEGO. And the theme that I would collect would probably just be Star Wars or maybe the Ideas theme, I don't really know though. Will you start making longer videos, say 15 instead of 5 minutes from Butter Your Reality? I think I make a pretty large variety of videos, at least in terms of runtime. Definitely since January, my average video length has gone up quite a bit. Like if you look at some of my videos from 2023, they were a lot shorter on average. My whole thing is that I don't want to stretch a video out to be longer than it needs to be. I think it ruins the pacing of the video for one, and two, it just feels kinda scummy to hit that 8-minute mark when you don't really need to. In fact, I've made a couple of videos recently that I could have fluffed up to hit that 8-minute mark, but it just doesn't feel right doing that. Okay, now we're going to move on to some more LEGO related questions, so if you only came for the YouTube stuff, you can check out. Thank you for watching. So our first question comes from Made with Bricks again. He asks, can you make some live streams about LEGO Castle lore? I've been thinking about doing live streams. I'm not sure if I'd make it about Castle lore, but live streams aren't out of the picture. Another question from Made with Bricks is, are you going to do some medieval mock contests? I would love to do some mock contests. I'd love to host some. I've entered like 1 or 2 before in the past myself, but yeah, I'd definitely be into it. I might try and host one sometime in the future, but no promises because I really don't have any plans right now. Our next question comes from Ben Barry, and he asks, what are your thoughts on off-brand bricks for those on a tight budget? So I am all for off-brand bricks or alt bricks, whatever you want to call them, as long as you're buying them from people who are not ripping off other designers or LEGO themselves. So companies that work with designers or companies that have their own in-house designers, I'm all for it, go for it. It is much more affordable to do that because as we all know, LEGO is stupidly expensive. Our next question comes from Avery Craig, who asks, what's the best way to build a large army of knights, expensive or otherwise? So the best way to build an army of current knights that are still available on shelves would be pick a brick. I have a guide on my channel, and I'm actually working on a new guide soon, but basically if you go to Pick a Brick, you can get a ton of different knights from the Lion Knights to the Black Falcons to even some Vikings. And they're going to cost you around anywhere from $4 to $6 based on what accessories you add to them. And then for expensive knights, I really don't recommend you do that at all. The expensive old CMF knights are just not worth army building because of the price. Our next question comes from Brickmaster News, who asks, what is your most expensive minifigure and how many do you have in your collection? So my most expensive would probably be maybe the Max Rebo minifigure or one of the ones from Lord of the Rings. It's kind of hard, I'm not really keeping up with the prices of minifigures because it's not something that I care that much about, but I would guess Max Rebo or one of the rare ones from Lord of the Rings, but again, I don't really know. What is a budget-friendly but awesome vintage LEGO medieval set from Striped Zebra 33? So budget-friendly and vintage LEGO really don't go hand in hand, but there are some options that you could look into. I would say if you're going for like under $100 and a really old set, you could find the Sea Serpent set for under maybe $80 depending on where you're looking, and that is a great set from the 90s that I think is worth picking up. But if you're wanting a cheaper set than that, then I would definitely go for the Trolls versus the Dwarves from the old fantasy era theme. I think it's around $40 to $50 on eBay, and you could probably find it for cheaper than that. But with that being said, make sure you're buying used whenever you buy old sets. Buying vintage new and sealed is just so expensive, it is not worth it. Okay, I'm gonna butcher this name, so I'm sorry, but our next question comes from Knote Trojansky 9218. They ask, what is your favorite custom fig that you have? So when it comes to customs that I've made myself, it would probably be my Viking Berserker that I made, but if it's a custom printed one, I would probably say the Black Falcon armor from Cult Bricks is definitely my favorite. From Brick HQ, we have, what is your favorite castle faction and set? So in terms of faction, it's obviously got to be the Raven Knights, but if you don't count that, then my next favorite would probably be the Trolls from Fantasy Era. And for my favorite castle set, in terms of sets that I have, it would have to be the Lion Knight's Castle, but if we're talking sets that I don't already own, it would be the Trolls Warship. That set is beautiful and I'd really love to get it one day. From Pinot Blue Vogel 6458, we have this question. Why are you mainly focused on minifigures in your videos, and less on larger things like buildings and vehicles? So simply put, minifigs are just really fun, and they obviously do really well on YouTube. A minifigure in the thumbnail is just a lot more attractive than anything else. Making custom minifigures is just a lot of fun to me. It's really that simple. I do a fair amount of mock videos, about 1 or 2 a month, and they're fun to do, but they obviously take a lot longer to make. And since I'm doing a weekly upload schedule, I can't always have a mock out every single week. But I would definitely love to do more and more of them. Our next question comes from Green Forest 4932, and they ask, what is my second favorite LEGO theme, and am I planning on doing some more LOTOR videos? So my second favorite LEGO theme would probably be LEGO Star Wars, but not as much recently. I'm just not as into it as I used to be, and again, I don't really care about any Star Wars media right now. And am I planning on doing any more LOTOR videos? I'm probably going to be getting Barad-dûr at some point, and I would definitely want to make a video on that. And then if they keep producing more sets from Lord of the Rings, I will definitely be making more videos on them. As for custom stuff with Lord of the Rings, I have some stuff kind of brewing in my mind, but nothing concrete right now. Okay, next up we have a couple of questions from Foxycraft. What do you think about the Crown Knights? I love the Crown Knights, they're great. And what is my favorite LEGO Star Wars set? So in terms of sets that I actually have, it would probably be the Mos Eisley Cantina. That is just a fantastic play and display set, and I think it's fantastic. More recently, I think the Ghost that came out last year is one of the best sets that's come out of LEGO Star Wars in like the past 5 years. And then in terms of sets that I don't own myself, it would have to go to the Tantive 4 set that came out in I think 2019. That is a beautiful set that I really wish I picked up when it was still on shelves. Our next question comes from a Brick Dreamer, and they ask, how large is your minifigure collection? So I don't really know an exact number on it because I don't care to count them, to be honest with you. But it's fairly large, I guess. I don't know. It's very relative to however many you have. But I'm very happy with the amount of minifigures I have. Of course, I'd love to have more, but I'm very content with what I have. Our next question comes from Jameson Horton, and they ask, will you do a comprehensive breakdown of how you organize and obtain minifigures? I am so glad you asked this question because I have a very big video coming sometime soon about all things army building, specifically LEGO Castle. I'm very excited to have this video come out. I don't know when it will, but it's going to be a very comprehensive guide on how you can source minifigures from Bricklink, Pick-a-Brick, and everything in between. It's going to be a very cool video. Our next question comes from Nathan, and they ask, do you spend a lot of money on Pick-a-Brick? Because it seems like I can't even build the smallest thing without needing to order parts from there. It may surprise you to hear that I have really not spent that much money on Pick-a-Brick. I think in total I've made maybe 6 orders from them, which really is not a lot when you compare it to other people in the Castle fandom. My most recent order was definitely the most expensive, where I bought a lot of masonry bricks and different stuff for my Black Falcon castle. I'm probably going to be placing more orders from them, but I don't want to spend too much money on there because it's really not the most economical way to get bricks. If you can, I would highly recommend buying locally from either Facebook Marketplace bulk lots, or even better than that, going to a third-party LEGO store and using their bulk table. You're just going to get way more value out of that, and in general it's going to be a lot cheaper than Pick-a-Brick. Our next question is, what's your favorite minifigure of all time, from Watcher Robot? So I think the obvious answer from me is going to be the Tournament Knight CMF, but other than that, I would probably say, I don't know, Max Rebo from Star Wars, or the Gondor Aragorn minifigure. Those are both terrific minifigures, but yeah, it's got to be the Tournament Knight. Our next question comes from It Shall Be 32 by 32 Cubits, and they ask, other than medieval, what classic LEGO theme would you like to see return with a full wave of sets? So when we're talking about classic LEGO themes, I assume you mean in-house, so I'm going to say definitely Western. I think there's a lot of opportunity to just make a lot of really cool sets from the Western theme, and I really hope LEGO brings it back in some capacity. Other than that, I would say Power Miners. That's a very classic theme for me personally, and I would love to see them bring it back in some shape or form. Christopher asks, when did you enter your Dark Age for LEGO Castle? So I didn't really ever have a Dark Age from LEGO Castle because that was never my main theme, but I did have my general LEGO Dark Age from around 2012 all the way up until 2018, like beginning of 2018. And then I had another small Dark Age in between 2020 and 2022. But yeah, I was never a big LEGO Castle fan until very recently, so yeah, that's my answer. From Iganox, we have, do you like the Vampire Knights? Yes, I do. Our next question is from Joanna GWS, and they ask, which Fantasy Era faction do you hate the most? That has to go to the Dwarves. They are very basic and aren't really that unique compared to the Crown Knights. I'm just not a fan. They have a couple of cool sets, don't get me wrong, and that old winged helmet piece is fantastic, but they're really nothing special to me. Are you continuing the Fantasy Era Trolls project? If so, how has progress been going? That comes from Luke Skywalker himself. So this project really has not seen any progress since I announced it. I want to do it as like maybe 1 or 2 videos. I don't want it to be like 10 videos for every single set. I want it to be a longer form video, so I don't know. I'll get to it at some point. And their other question is, what would you change about Castle 2013 to make it better? Very simply, I would never let it happen, and I would just continue Kingdoms from 2012. They would get a Green Dragon full castle and a bunch of other like siege weapons and smaller sets. Yeah, I would make Castle 2013 never happen to make it better. And our very last question comes from Big Biscuit 3622. They ask, what was your very first LEGO set that you remember getting? So that's kind of a hard question to answer because I don't remember a single set in my mind. The first couple of sets that I remember getting are as follows. I remember getting the Air Temple from The Last Airbender, which was just my favorite show as a kid. So that was one of the first sets I remember getting. And then other than that, the Jabba's Sail Barge from I think 2006 as well was another set that I remember getting. And then from Castle, I remember getting one of the Trolls sets and one of the Viking sets as well. But yeah, I don't have a single set in mind that was like my first set I remember getting. But those 3 are definitely the ones that I think of when I think of my first sets that I ever got. And of course, I was way too young for those sets at the time. I don't think I ever completely built any of them to what they wanted them to be. So yeah, that's going to conclude this Q&A. This was a little bit of a different video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you everyone for watching over this past year. I hope to continue to make some great videos over the next year, and I hope you stick around to see what I have coming. Thank you so much for watching.